Once there was a zamindar landowner, and he had one particular field that was uncultivated, and it bothered him. It really bothered him, that it wasn't productive. It wasn't yielding any wealth for him. So he contacted a man from the farming tribe, and he said, work my land and we'll see what we'll see. After agreeing terms and conditions, they shook hands, and the farmer, off he went. The very next day he started working, and he worked hard, turning over that soil day after day, week after week, month after month. Finally, when he'd leveled that ground, well, he mixed in the best manure that he could afford. And then he bought the best seed that he could afford, planted that seed, watching it slowly grow, weeding, watering every day. And when harvest time came, my goodness me, what a fantastic crop it was. The next year, even better. And the third year, well, that harvest surpassed the first 2 years. And now the farmer who once had nothing was quite wealthy. And one afternoon he got to think, I'm working, I'm breaking my back. I'm toiling here day after day. Why do I have to give that landowner 50% of everything that I harvest? That's not right. This land belongs to me. I'm the one that's working it. I should get 100%. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, of course, the zamindar, he's having the similar thoughts, thinking the same thing. Why am I giving this fool 50%? This is my land. I own it. I should be getting 100%. So finally they arranged a meeting. And as you can imagine, it was quite heated, each one claiming they owned the land. And suddenly an idea came into the farmer's mind, because besides being hard-working and diligent, he was an opportunist. He was sly. Some would say he was now quite greedy with his newfound wealth, And he said, Zamindar, why don't we do this? Why don't we meet on the field at midnight, and we'll ask the earth who it belongs to. The earth? What are you talking about? We'll ask the earth who it belongs to. And if she says that it belongs to you, I'll sign whatever you want and I'll walk away. But if she says it belongs to me, you've got to do the same. Agreed? And the zamindar, chuckling to himself, thinking he's lost his sense, he says, yes, agreed. And off he went. He said, I'll see you at midnight. Now the farmer, who ran home as quick as he could, he had a daughter, maybe 7 or 8 years old. He loved her dearly, just as she loved her father dearly. He said, child, I need you to do something for me. Huh, Papa, anything? He said, I'm going to dig a pit in the field. I'll put you in that pit. I'll put a lid on top. And don't worry, I'll make sure there's enough holes in there. I wouldn't see a single hair on your head hurt or damaged. But you have to listen out to my words. And when you hear my words saying, who do you belong to? You have to answer this. Why, farmer, I belong to you. Can you do that for me, child? And the girl said, huh, Papa, of course. So around 11:30 that night, he gently put her into the pit he dug, put the lid on top, put lots of holes in there, obviously so she could breathe. And then he listened. And a while later he heard voices getting louder and closer. And there was the zamindar with 3 witnesses, the paperwork ready to be signed. And the rest of the village had converged to watch the tamasha, the drama, the entertainment. And as the villagers were all edging that field, well, when the time was right, or rather self-importantly, the farmer said, ask the question, zamindar. And the landowner said, earth, who do you belong to? Silence. Ask again, said the farmer. Earth, who do you belong to? Nothing. Right, said the farmer, it's my turn. Earth, who do you belong to? In the stillness, in the quietness and the darkness, a voice from underneath the ground said, why, farmer, I belong to you. Everybody's jaws dropped. They could hear it as clearly as you could hear my voice. Ask again, said the zamindar. Earth, who do you belong to? Why, farmer, I belong to you. What could the landowner do? Everybody had witnessed it. He took that piece of paper, he signed over the deeds to the farmer and handed him over and went away scratching his head. The witnesses followed, and after a while, well, all the villagers dispersed as well. So the farmer, he went up to the pit, he lifted the lid and grabbed his daughter's arms and pulled her up. And even when he pulled her up only to her waist, he could see that her body was racked with sobbing. And when he took her above ground, he wiped away the soil from her hair and her eyes are closed. He says, I'm really sorry, child. I didn't think it would take so long. I'm really sorry you'd be stuck in that hole. She says, I don't care about the hole. I don't care that I was stuck in the darkness or in the soil. You cheated, Papa, you cheated. He said the earth belonged to him. He owned it. You said you own the earth. Nobody owns the earth. None of us own it. It's Ma Durga that owns it. Mother Earth. You cheated her. You cheated her. And because you've cheated her, I've now been cursed. And as soon as those words left her lips, that beautiful girl began to shrink. Her nails grew long on her fingers. And a moment later, her whole body was covered with these brown and white quills. And that little porcupine scuttled away into the darkness. Before the farmer realized what had happened, he was trying to find his daughter and looking for her in the darkness and calling out her name. All night he searched every neighbouring field and he couldn't find her. In the morning when the sun finally came up, there he sat exhausted, the tears caked upon tears on his cheeks. What a fool I've been, he said. He'd lost that which he loved the most in the world, his beloved daughter. I hope no harm comes to her. I hope no harm comes to her. Maybe the farmers in the neighbouring field heard these words, because even to this very day, in that part of Gujarat, when there's a porcupine there, scuttling amongst the crops, amongst the fields, people let it roam freely. Nobody hurts it, nobody chases it away. And even to this very day, they say, a call of a porcupine is very particular. It sounds like a young child crying because Durga Ma had been cheated. Mother Earth had been cheated.